Hi, I'm Catherine Longo, and I'm the director of the choral program at FIU.
Hi, I'm Javier Mendoza and Director of Orchestral Studies at FIU. And we're very pleased to be here this morning to talk to you about our programs in the School of Music.
So I've been the choral director at FIU for 4 years now, and we have three choirs, students that sing that are music majors and also majors from around the university. We have our concert choir, our university singers, which includes a women's chorus and a men's chorus, and we have FI Unity Gospel Choir, which just started last year.
So in my position as Director of Orchestral Studies, I conduct the FIU Symphony Orchestra and also mentor graduate assistants, graduate students in conducting. We're really lucky in the School of Music. We have a really dynamic student body, and our orchestra is made up of students from all over the world, many of them from Latin American countries.
I'm glad you mentioned our graduate students. I've had the pleasure of working with a number of graduate students in choral conducting, and one was a really special relationship, and she was the person who really introduced me the most to Latin American choral music. Her name is Nimia Marquez. She graduated with her master's in choral conducting a couple of years ago, and she opened my eyes to the incredible music, especially from Cuba, but throughout Latin America. She helped me understand my clave, helped me figure out how to sway my hips and understand the styles and appropriate way to perform Latin American choral music. It's been a pleasure for me to turn the podium over to our students as I am learning so much about this music. And because Nimia had such strong connections to the classical Cuban choral music scene, we were able to put together a tour, and we traveled to Cuba in March of 2017. Our choir went to Havana. We sang with the National Symphony, and that all kind of happened because in working with LACC the year before that, we had the pleasure of having our guest composer from Argentina, Martin Palmieri. And it just so happened that the piece that we sang premiered in Cuba 20 years ago, so we were able to travel to Cuba for the 20th anniversary of that piece, which is called Misa Tango. Being in Miami and being at FIU has been fertile ground for building a really strong program in classical Latin American music.
And the fertile ground is so true. We live in this dynamic city with this dynamic campus, this dynamic university. And because of the background of our students, we owe it to our community to focus on repertoire from Latin America. Because like I always say, if we're not performing repertoire by Latin American composers, who's going to do it? So one of the things that came about through our wonderful relationship with LACC was this project of having this past summer guests from Bolivia who specialize in performing music from the missions of the Chiquitos region of Bolivia, mostly music from the 18th century. And this group came from San Jose de Chiquitos and performed at the Wertheim Performing Arts Center, and we were able to collaborate with them and the FIU Camerata. So what we were able to do before the performance was have a pre-concert talk which I led, contrasting the activities of cathedral music with mission music. And of course, mission music is more functional in the way that it is didactic. It was used as a teaching tool, used as a tool in conversion, whereas music that was performed in the cathedral had more of a performance quality.
It was so wonderful to put together that performance where we were able to sing some of the cathedral music and then have the group from Bolivia perform mission music. And it was an incredible orchestra, and we had a wonderful audience that's really supportive of the music that is coming out of Bolivia and that tradition. And that led to an invitation for us now to go to Bolivia to work with the musicians there and hopefully build a relationship, an ongoing relationship with that community. Again, this is such a logical thing, I think, for FIU. We have the opportunity to bring together so many different people, and we have wonderful musicians here in town that can make really wonderful music together. When I began with the choirs at FIU, I didn't have very much experience at all with Latin American music, especially choral music. And I was so fortunate to find a student body that was familiar with this repertoire, and I had the opportunity to start to learn Latin American choral music myself. And we have had now in these last 4 years, every year we do some kind of event that incorporates and celebrates Latin American music, from choral festivals to a guest composer who came from Argentina a couple of years ago, and now we're getting ready for a zarzuela this year.
Yes, this year we'll be presenting a zarzuela, which is a type of Spanish opera, except it has spoken dialogue. And this is actually a collaboration between the voice area and orchestral studies in the School of Music. And this will be offered March 2nd and 3rd of 2019, and will involve many singers, the chorus, FIU's opera, and the orchestra. And the opera is Doña Francisquita, which is one of the classics.
So in spring of 2016 was our first Latin American Choral and Vocal Music Festival, and we actually had a number of events that year, including an evening of zarzuela where our students just learned different pieces from a lot of different zarzuelas. So we're really excited to actually do our first full stage zarzuela in March. In addition, at that event, we were so fortunate to have Maria Guinan, who is a world-renowned conductor from Venezuela, come and be a part of our festival. We had choirs singing all together. We joined with Amazonia Vocal Ensemble, which is a local choir that focuses on Latin American music here in Miami. And that particular festival really felt like the start of something special where we really celebrate Latin American music. And then it came time to hire a new orchestra director, and we were so happy to find Javier. He's a wonderful fit for our students, for our student body, and he brought his own experiences, and you really helped for us to enhance our programs. And right when you started, you said, hey, let's go to Guatemala. And so it began opportunities. Not only now we have connections, of course, with Cuba, with Venezuela, but then you brought us also a strong connection to the community of musicians in Guatemala.
And I'm not Guatemalan, but I have worked in Guatemala since 2007. I've had the privilege of working there with El Sistema de Orquestas and also La Escuela Municipal de Música. And we've deepened that relationship with the school and with their directors and with their students. In fact, their directors came here to study with Kate during the 2018 Latin American Choral Festival. And we hope to strengthen these ties even more. We hope to receive students from Guatemala City into our musical program here at FIU as well. So reiterating the pleasure that it is to work with such a diverse student body and a student body with such rich cultural background. And as I said, we owe it to this community to present music with Hispanic roots, with Latin American roots. The makeup of the orchestra and the choirs and the School of Music comes from all over the United States, but also all over Latin America. And particularly recently, we've had a big influx of Venezuelans, which has helped us improve our program. We can take credit as faculty as much as we want, but our programs have improved, at least in instrumental music, because we have so many students that are products of Venezuela's El Sistema program, which was founded by Jose Antonio Abreu over 30 years ago. And he actually passed away this past year, and the choirs had an opportunity to recognize his achievements.
We did. And these kinds of opportunities come up because we have shared music together. In the Wertheim Performing Arts Center, we have worked with Amazonia, like I mentioned, and with not just our students, but also new members of the community who have come to be a part of our concerts and to share with us. I have been so moved and inspired by their musicianship. And as I mentioned, Maria Guinan, of course, who worked closely with Maestro Abreu and is kind of La Maestra in Caracas. And so to have these singers come together has always been wonderful in our concerts at the Wertheim, but then we were invited to sing alongside many of these Venezuelans at the Mass honoring Maestro Abreu. And I think it captured really beautifully the spirit of what happens when we come together in song. And I want to just share a brief note that I received from a student, because I think it really captures the kind of work that we're able to do that's so unique to us as musicians and reaches people at their core, which is really the job of music, I believe. So she says, Dear Dr. Longo, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. My family is Venezuelan, and my parents came to tonight's Mass and they were in tears. The times are so tough in our country right now, and for them to hear the national anthem was the highlight of their year, probably. They keep thanking me and the choir for singing their music. It was such an emotional night, and I just want to say thank you again for saying yes to this opportunity. For the first time in a while, I felt pride for both of my countries, and I'm so glad I got to share it with both my family and my FIU family. I saved that. I've saved, different things over the years, but I think it's just universal. I think music is a universal language that we all can share. And it's funny to me because we actually were invited to come to that Mass because one of the organizers had been at our Latin American concert and we were actually performing a piece by a Haitian American composer, which was written in Latin and Creole. And then at that mass, we also joined together and sang Mozart. So at that mass, there was Mozart, and there was this music of Sydney, who's a Haitian American. We sang in Latin, we sang in English, in Spanish, and in Creole, all to celebrate the life and work of this wonderful musician whose roots are in Venezuela, but have obviously reached all of us here in Miami as well. And I think it's just a really beautiful representation of the kinds of work that we can do when we put all of our forces together.